Question: how do you invest your CPF into the various unit trust platforms? Today I have that answer for you, but more importantly, let me address the white elephant in the room. According to this article, 1 in 2 who invest their CPFOA are actually worse off. I mean, how could that be? If you look at S&P 500's performance, you realize that it's double digit for the last 5 years. What about the much maligned STI index? If you look at the last 5 years, according to ES3, you realize that it's performing at 4.96%. ES3 is of course the STI ETF. Now the question is, how can you invest your CPF better? How can it be that 50% who actually do better than the 2.5% interest rate that you're getting from CPF? In this tutorial, I'll be covering with you how you can actually purchase CPF funds using FSMOne as well as Endowus. And towards the end of the video, I'll be sharing with you a little bit more insight behind the psychology as to why many investors do not do well when they invest themselves. So if it's a topic that you're interested and you're keen to find a bit more, continue watching on. Hi guys, welcome back. Now before I share with you a bit more on CPFOA investing, have I invested CPFOA myself? I haven't, and I give you a reason why also. Now take a look at my CPF statement over here. You realize that I don't actually have too much in CPF, correct? And that's because I'm an advisor and I'm self-employed, which means everything I've been contributing has been voluntary contribution. And in previous years, I prioritized whatever I've contributed from OA to be moved towards SA for higher interest. And last year's contribution has not been moved yet. I'm considering a lot of factors, for example tax reasons down the years, that's why I haven't moved that amount yet. But if you see 11,500 is not at the 20,000 minimum required before you can invest your CPF OA. So how does that rule actually work? If you have 25,000 in your CPF OA, which is very possible, after working for a few years, it's easy to build that amount up. If you have 25,000, you can invest 5,000, which is the amount above the first 20,000. And it's also important to note, don't go investing $500 in CPF because there's always a minimum charge when you make CPF trades. And the minimum charge is actually imposed on two sides. The first is actually by the agent bank, which can be OCBC, UOB, and DBS. Myself, I've opened an account with OCBC many years back, but right now you can open with any of them online. If you are new to CPF investing, you also need to take note, you have to complete a CPF self-awareness questionnaire first before you can get invested. With every transaction, there's a $2 with GST charge. That's why I suggest if you were to make transactions, make them at a sizable amount so that that $2 is not too significant. And two key rules before you get started on CPF OA investing. The first is, do you need this CPF OA for housing? Have you settled your housing needs or not? If you do need for housing like 1-2 years down the road, possibly it's not a good idea to invest because the investment journey has ups and downs. If you happen to be at a down cycle, you don't want to be selling out at the wrong time and incurring losses. Then the second question is, do you have cash that's idling in the bank account? If you do have, then why not invest the cash first? Ultimately, CPF OA has 2.5% interest. So you should move your cash to invest first before touching your CPF OA. So with that out of the way, let me show you how to invest yourself using FSMOne and Endowus. Over here, create an account with FSMOne, and you can actually do all these with my info these days. And I will show you specifically how to filter for CPF OA funds. Simply go to Fund Selector, and then go to Payment Method. Select Included under CPF OA. What you will see is a whole list of funds that you can choose to invest, and all these are all qualified with CPF OA investing. You even see interesting names such as Allianz Global Artificial Intelligence, somewhere in the middle. I think that's a pretty in fund right now, and it's a high risk fund. You can check it out or go to the performance table over here. When you click on it, you'll filter the funds based on their past track record, such as 1 year, 2 year, 5 years history, or you can go with the 3-year Sharpe ratio to filter for them. So what exactly is Sharpe ratio? It's actually measuring the portfolio's outperformance per unit of volatility. So it's actually risk adjusted. So this actually gives you, funds that have been doing well relative to its risk is taking. And what do you see at the top? You see Franklin US Opportunities. And since US equities have been doing well recently, it's natural that it sits at the top. And with that, I would like to suggest to you to not over-concentrate your portfolio in any particular sector. That's good investment practice. If you like US equities, have more of it if you want, but always have diversification done to bonds, to other equity classes. So I should show you how to do that. So if you go back to the chart over here, you can actually select others that are also ranked pretty well. And those that you see with a fire logo at the side of it, those are actually recommended by FSMOne. But what I'll take now, just as to illustrate how to build a portfolio, we'll be using US Opportunities, PineBridge Singapore Bond Fund, PineBridge Asia Ex-Japan Small Cap Equity, which is a fund that I've covered before, and I'll leave towards the end of the video, Fidelity Emerging Markets, and also FSSA Dividend Advantage Fund. Now this is a pretty stellar fund that I have used for many of my private clients' portfolios. I have even an article written fully on it, so I'll leave links below just in case you want to check out on it. And with that answers how you can actually use FSMOne to filter for CPFOA related funds and get invested. So now let's move on to Endowus, how you can actually purchase funds from their platform. Simply head to their website, which you can also create an account using My Info, and they have actually two methods. One is using general investing, whereby they create a portfolio for you, advised portfolios for mid to long-term goals. Or you can actually go with the FundSmart, whereby you can actually build your own portfolio. So under FundSmart, when you click, you'll see that they also have a full list of funds available for you to choose. But if you want active management, then fall back on the general investing portfolio, because over there you get rebalancing done for you regularly. So click on that and you realize you get to a page whereby you can actually select general investing with CPFOA, and you next choose what kind of portfolio suits you. And with this, I'll probably demo with the balanced and aggressive portfolio. When you click on the balanced portfolio, you can actually see the historical performance. And if you see in terms of 5-year track record, they've done pretty well at 9.74%. What about the aggressive portfolio? Because it has more equities in it, 80% equities, 20% bonds. If you look at that performance, you realize that it's slightly higher simply because equities have done well in recent years. The 5-year record for this 80-20 portfolio is 12% per annum. That comfortably beats 2.5% in CPFOA, but of course, you're taking on equity investment risk. If you want to see what are the underlying funds, simply head down and you realize that it's fully diversified between bonds as well as various equities, following good investment philosophies. If you want to find out about top holdings, it's simply a click of a button away. Beyond these two platforms, there are of course other platforms in the market. POEMS, for one, are also pretty strong in what they can offer. But this quick tutorial is to show you how you can actually build a portfolio using CPFOA using unit trust funds. Now, if you have benefited, smash the like button because it's taken our team hours to prepare this presentation for you. And again, click on the subscribe because we'll be launching more videos in the coming week to help you in your financial journey. I cover on retirement topics over here, CPF topics over here, as well as good investment philosophies. If you've never bought before stocks with your CPFOA, then maybe this section is something you can look out for. You can actually do buy stocks, but there's actually a sub-limit to what you can invest. And that sub-limit is 35% of investable amounts. If you want to find out what stocks can be bought, simply click on this link by SGX, and so far you can only buy SGX listed stocks only. You realize that most, or if not all of the blue chips are listed over there, but penny stocks, some of them which are extremely small cap, are not on that list. But you still find gems, those that are mid cap, such as AEM, such as AIMS REIT. Right now, as of this point of filming, most discount brokerages like Tiger Brokers and Moomoo are not offering CPFOA investment yet. But you can actually still buy them through FSMOne. I think it's still cheaper than most traditional brokerages, which will charge about $25 to $30 minimum in terms of contract. The third option that you can invest your CPF is into gold. But of the three ideas, which is investing in funds, investing into stocks, and investing in gold, I think investing in gold is possibly the worst. Simply because there is no dividend, there's no coupon when it comes to gold. You're purely hoping that gold price appreciates. And with that, you're actually forsaking your CPF 2.5% guaranteed interest. So always think twice before investing your CPF. With that, hopefully I've answered a lot of questions that you have. If you have further comments, leave them in sections below. And since you stayed to the end of the video, I've actually this section for you. Why do investors not do well when it comes to investing? This can be explained by something called availability biases. And what exactly is availability biases? Take a look at this cartoon over here. It mentions that if someone watches a lot of movies and shows with sharks in the oceans, he'll think that there's always sharks lurking there. And when it's time for him to go swim, he'll be thinking that it's dangerous. There are definitely going to be sharks hunting him down. So this can also be applied to when investors are looking at news, such as what happened during the COVID-19 market crash. He'll be thinking that, wow, this country is in lockdown, that economy is in stalling mode. He'll be thinking that it's a bad time to invest. But on hindsight, March and April was possibly the best time to get invested. And is there data to back it up? I actually have something to show you. This is actually the performance for members who have invested their CPFOA. I want you to pay special attention to financial 2020 because that was a period that COVID-19 affected market performances. If you had simply stayed the course, which is to hold when the market crashed and ride it back up, you probably not see losses, correct? But why did 41% of members actually see losses? This is a much bigger ratio as compared to previous years, which is 21% for 5-year cumulative data. That goes to show that many investors could have sold out at bad periods of time. They could have sold out in February or March and they have missed out on market gains when it recovered. So take note of this. If you want to become a better investor, you need to understand how to filter away market noise. And I've actually previous tutorials to help you become a better investor. Check out this over here. It touches on anchoring biases. Maybe it's something that you can be aware of a bit better to help you improve on your investment performance. With that, I'll sign off and see you there also. Take care and goodbye.